Michelle. Very nice to meet you. Thank you for
Nice to meet you.
talking to us today. The question I want to ask is, there was a point in your career where you left it at the peak and you had the family, etc., whereas she does the opposite in the film. How do you relate to that? I mean, can you relate to the choices that she made?
I think it's very hard to really relate until you're really in that situation. Because I think if you ask any mother, any wife, at that moment, you would instinctively turn around and say, no, I don't think I'm brave enough. But then just think about it. Today, if you are a soldier, now you have women who are, many women who are very, very good soldiers. When they go to war, that's what they do. They leave their families behind because this is something that they have to do. And for Do Soo, when she went back for family. It's very ironic. She went back to look after her sick mother. But she also always knew that she, as her father's daughter, she also has to fulfill a certain kind of legacy. But I guess she did not think that it would come in such a big way. She studied political science. She worked at the United Nations for a while, and I think in fact, she always told Michael Aris that one day, if my country needs me, we will go. Right? And he was always very open to that idea because he's an academic and he specializes in Eastern studies and Tibetan studies. So he has a great familiar and sense of love for the Eastern world and the Eastern culture. So it would not have been too difficult for them to move back to Burma and live there. So when she went back for her mother, that was when things went really bad. With the demonstrations for the students and the crackdown, and she saw, when you see firsthand the brutality, the injuries, the deaths, it's very different from when you watch TV and you go, oh my God, those poor people, So yes, one day she was the mother of two. The next day she was the mother of a nation. And when one person or a family can make a difference, how can you say no?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I mean, the film is more about the love story, really, rather than showing the brutality, which is nice because it's in keeping with her kind of personality, I think. What I want to know is, you got a chance, you actually experienced the Burmese visa system firsthand,
yes,
and you got to meet the lady herself. What I want to know is, when you first met her, what did you talk about? I mean, what did you say?
I was very worried. I was not worried. I was very nervous when I was going to meet her, because she's become such an inspiration. Because we need good people like this in our lives, in our world. And the more we have, the better I think our world will be. And so, when you're going to meet your hero, and that saying that you should never meet your hero because it'll be a letdown. I was so excited. And it was not a letdown. It was beyond that. I mean, it was an amazing and very, very memorable experience, because what she does is that she is able very quickly to welcome you like a family. Like when I turned around, she was standing there. Before I could say anything, she just opened up her arms, and gave me the biggest hug. And then we just sat down, and she makes you feel at ease. She's very smart. She is very smart. She's very straightforward. So if you were to ask her a question about anything, she's very, quick to answer you. But she's very curious because she hasn't been out of Burma since '88. And whenever someone new from a foreign land comes, what you do is you bring a part of the world that, she hasn't seen in a long time. So she wants to know what's going on there and what's happening, to a point where you go, no, I want to talk about you. I want to know how you are doing. But what I was really moved about was to see Kim, her younger son, and her together. Because at that point, they hadn't seen each other in 10, 11 years, because the last time when he was allowed in. So because when we were making The Lady, this was something that, was very, very difficult to get our hands on. There was very few photos of the family, when they are together. There was no video, nothing. So, David Thewlis and myself, we had to believe that, what we had learned, everything that we had, gathered was enough to make us feel that these people were like that. So when I saw how affectionate, Kim and the mother was, it was just so
I mean,
moving.
very briefly, finally, I mean, everything, fact and fiction, merged in November last year
Oh,
when she
yes.
was released. Very briefly, what was that moment like when you were with Luc Besson and with Kim when you heard that announcement?
I think the expression on Luke's face would have said it all. He was just dumbfounded because that morning we had just shot the scene of me going up the steps and waving to the monks, and then that late afternoon we were sitting there in my room. I had Luke, I had Kim, the real Kim. I had my son, the young Kim, and Alexander and David Thorless. We were all sitting and watching this momentous occasion. And, you know, we felt great joy because she was finally free. And at the same time, great fear because we didn't know anything could happen at that time. But I think at the end of the day, what it was, we felt hope. That, you know, and that's the one thing that we all have to have, is hope that things will get better.
And that's what she brings. I wish you the best with the film and
Thank
possible Oscar nomination for your performance. Thank you very
Thank
much for talking to us. Thank you.
Thank you.